Millionaire CEO sees poor little girl playing piano in the subway to save her mom, not knowing she is his daughter. Before the story begins, wherever life has placed you today, this message is for you. The grand arched ceiling of Grand Central. Station echoed with the sounds of hurried footsteps, announcements, and the constant hum of New York City's pulse. Among the crowd walked Alex Thornton, his tailored suit and confident stride marking him as someone who commanded respect in the corporate world. At 42, the CEO of Thornton Technologies had mastered the art of moving through spaces without truly being present in them. Today had been particularly draining. Board meetings where numbers mattered more than people, just as his father had taught him. Alex checked his watch. 6:37 p.m. His driver would be waiting, and tomorrow's merger papers needed reviewing before bed. That's when he heard it. Delicate piano notes cutting through the station's chaos like sunlight through storm clouds. The melody was hauntingly familiar, a classical piece he hadn't heard played with such emotion in years. Alex stopped, causing a businessman to nearly collide with him. Something about those notes pulled at him, tugging at memories he'd locked away long ago. Before he realized it, his feet were carrying him toward the music. Turning a corner near the West Concourse, he found the source. A small girl with auburn hair sat at a worn electronic keyboard, her fingers dancing across the keys with extraordinary precision. A small jar with a few bills and coins sat beside her. The crowd flowed around her like water around a stone. Most people too busy to notice the magic being created by such tiny hands. But Alex couldn't move. The skill, the emotion in her playing, it was beyond her years. When she finished, the girl looked up, and Alex felt something shift inside him. Her eyes, piercing blue, clear as a mountain lake, were startlingly familiar. They were, he realized with an inexplicable jolt, identical to his own. Without thinking, Alex reached for his wallet and approached the makeshift performance space. He placed a $100 bill in the jar. "Thank you, sir," the girl said, her voice small but confident. "That's very generous." "You play beautifully," Alex replied, finding his voice oddly tight. "Where did you learn?" "My mom taught me. She went to Juilliard," she answered proudly. "I'm Lily Matthews. I'm Alex." He hesitated before adding, "Why are you playing here instead of practicing at home?" Lily's small hands rested momentarily on the keys. "Mom's sick. Cancer. I'm helping. With her medicine money." She gestured to the jar. "Insurance doesn't cover everything." Something twisted in Alex's chest. Pain, recognition, or perhaps something he couldn't yet name. "How old are you, Lily?" he asked, though he wasn't sure why it mattered. 8. Almost 9 in March, she answered, already positioning her hands for another piece. Alex's phone buzzed insistently. Charlotte, his assistant, reminding him of his next appointment. The real world intruding on whatever strange moment this was. "I have to go," he said, surprised by his reluctance. "Keep playing. You have a gift." As he walked away, the sound of Lily's music followed him, weaving through the station like a thread pulling tight around his heart. In the back of his town car, speeding toward his next obligation, Alex couldn't shake the image of those blue eyes, so like his own, or the strange sense that something fundamental had just shifted in his precisely ordered life. He didn't know it yet, but nothing would ever be the same again. The elevator creaked as it ascended to the 4th floor of the aging apartment building in Queens. Lily Matthews clutched her small backpack containing her music sheets and the day's earnings. The hallway. Lights flickered as she made her way to apartment 412, carefully unlocking the door with the key she wore on a string around her neck. "Mom, I'm home," she called softly, setting her backpack down by the door. The modest apartment was neat but worn, filled with second-hand furniture and walls adorned with framed sheet music instead of expensive art. From the small bedroom came a weak voice. "In here, sweetheart." Sophia Matthews sat propped against pillows, a colorful scarf wrapped around her head. At 36, her face still held remarkable beauty, though illness had hollowed her cheeks and dulled the sparkle in her eyes. A half-finished cup of tea and an open book rested on the nightstand beside a collection of prescription bottles. How was your session today? Sophia asked, her smile brightening as Lily climbed onto the bed beside her. Lily reached into her pocket, proudly displaying the day's collection of bills and coins. Really good. Look, Mom, someone gave me $100. Sophia's eyes widened. 100? Lily, that's incredible. He was a businessman in a fancy suit, Lily explained, arranging the money on the bed cover. And Mom, he had eyes just like mine, just exactly the same blue. Something flickered across Sophia's face. Surprise, perhaps anxiety, but she quickly masked it with a smile. Well, that was very generous of him. Did you thank him properly? Of course, Lily nodded. He said I play beautifully. Sophia brushed a strand of hair from Lily's face. Because you do. Now, help me to the kitchen. I'm feeling strong enough to make us some dinner. As Sophia slowly stood, Lily instinctively moved to support her mother's weight. This role reversal had become their new normal since the diagnosis 6 months ago. Breast cancer, stage 2. Treatable, the doctor said, but the treatments were brutal. Did you take your medicine at noon? Lily asked with the seriousness of a much older child. Yes, Nurse Matthews, Sophia teased gently, squeezing her daughter's hand. In the kitchen, while Sophia warmed leftover soup, Lily organized their medication schedule for the following day. Her childhood was measured not in playdates but in chemotherapy appointments, insurance calls, and the constant calculations of how to stretch their limited resources. Later, as Sophia rested on the sofa, Lily retrieved her treasured possession from the bookshelf, a framed photograph partially hidden behind music books. It showed a younger, radiant Sophia in a Juilliard practice room, her arm around a partially visible man whose face was cut off in the frame. This fragment of the past was Lily's only connection to the father she'd never known. Tell me about my dad again? Lily asked, a nightly ritual that brought comfort in its familiarity. Sophia's eyes grew distant. He was brilliant, a natural musician like you, passionate about creating beautiful things. Why did he leave? The question that always followed. Sometimes life pulls people in different directions, Sophia answered, the same gentle evasion she always offered. But he gave me you, and that's the greatest gift I could have received. Lily nodded, satisfied for now with this partial truth. She carefully returned the photo to its hiding place, unaware that the stranger from Grand Central Station had just set in motion events that would soon uncover all the secrets her mother had kept hidden for 9 years. Moonlight spilled through floor-to-ceiling windows of Alex Thornton's Manhattan penthouse, illuminating the baby grand piano that stood as an elegant centerpiece in the otherwise minimalist living room. It was nearly midnight, yet sleep remained elusive. Alex's fingers hovered over the keys before beginning to play, the very same classical piece he'd heard the little girl perform in Grand Central that afternoon. The melody flowed from his hands, with practiced precision yet even to his own ears. It lacked the emotional depth that had made Lily's rendition so captivating. As he played, memories rushed back like a tide he'd spent years holding at bay. Music won't build an empire, Alexander. His father's voice echoed from 20 years ago. Thorntons run businesses, not concert halls. The scene unfolded in his mind. 19-year-old Alex standing in this very apartment. Then his father's, with acceptance letters from both Juilliard and Harvard Business School on the table between them. Richard Thornton had been unmovable, his steel gray eyes cold as he tore the Juilliard letter in half. This discussion is finished. You'll attend Harvard in the fall. Alex's fingers faltered on the keys as the bitterness of that moment resurfaced. His father had been dead for 2 years now, yet his influence remained, woven into the fabric of Alex's carefully constructed life. The intercom buzzed, breaking his reverie. Mr. Thornton? It's Charlotte. I have those contracts you requested, came his executive assistant's voice. Alex glanced at his watch, surprised. Charlotte, it's midnight. What are you still doing at the office? The next tech merger won't prepare itself, she replied with her typical efficiency. May I come up? Minutes later, Charlotte Reynolds stood in his living room, her tailored suit as pristine as it had been 14 hours ago when their workday began. She placed a folder on the coffee table but paused when she noticed the piano with its open sheet music. "I didn't know you still played," she remarked, genuine surprise in her voice. "I don't," Alex said, closing the piano lid. Not really. Charlotte had been with him for 7 years, long enough to notice the subtle changes in his demeanor. "You seem distracted today, since you returned from your lunch meeting, actually." Alex considered deflecting but found himself saying, "I met someone, a child playing piano in Grand Central, 8 years old with more natural talent than most adults." "That's sweet," Charlotte smiled. "Perhaps Thornton Technologies could sponsor a children's music program. It would align well with our community initiatives." Alex nodded absently, but his mind was elsewhere. The little girl's eyes, his eyes, and the strange pull he'd felt toward her. "What was the name of that music student I dated briefly during my Harvard years?" he asked suddenly. "The one from Juilliard?" Charlotte raised an eyebrow. "Sophia, something? I remember your father was particularly opposed to that relationship." "Matthews," Alex whispered, the name surfacing from the depths of memory. Sophia Matthews. An unsettling thought took root in his mind, a calculation he couldn't ignore. 9 years ago, a talented pianist named Sophia Matthews, a little girl, 8 years old, with his eyes. "Cancel my meetings for Thursday afternoon," he said, his decision. "First, I'm going back to Grand Central Station. May I ask why?" Charlotte inquired, her professional curiosity piqued. Alex turned toward the windows, gazing at the glittering Manhattan skyline, the empire his father had forced him to build instead of following his passion. "I need to hear that music again," he answered simply, though the truth was far more complex than he was ready to admit even to himself. As Charlotte left with promises to rearrange his schedule, Alex returned to the piano, playing the haunting melody once more, each note carrying him closer to a truth he had yet to discover, and a past he had never fully escaped. 3 days passed before Alex found himself standing once again in the bustling corridors of Grand Central Station. He'd changed from his usual power suit into more casual attire, dark jeans and a charcoal sweater, hoping to blend in rather than intimidate. The familiar notes drew him forward before he even rounded the corner. Lily sat at her keyboard, her small frame hunched slightly in concentration as she played a Chopin nocturne. A modest crowd had gathered, commuters pausing their rushed journeys to witness something beautiful amidst the ordinary. Alex waited at the edge of the audience, studying her with newfound perspective. Her auburn hair, so like Sophia's, was tied back in a practical ponytail, revealing delicate features that seemed to be a perfect blend of. He pushed the thought away. Not yet, ready to fully confront it. When Lily finished playing, the crowd dispersed, dropping various bills and coins into her collection jar. Only then did Alex approach, watching as her face lit with recognition. "You came back," she said, her blue eyes, his eyes, widening with surprise. "I did. Your playing is extraordinary," Alex replied, settling on a nearby bench. "That was Chopin, wasn't it?" Lily nodded enthusiastically. "Nocturne in E-flat major, do you play too?" "I used to. A long time ago," he admitted, the words feeling like a confession. "Why did you stop?" The directness of childhood cut straight to the heart of things. Alex paused, considering how to answer. "Sometimes adults make choices they later regret," he said finally, "or have choices made for them." Lily seemed to consider this deeply, her young face surprisingly contemplative. "My mom says that's how life works, we can only move forward." "Your mother sounds wise." Alex hesitated before asking, "How is she doing? With her treatments?" "Some days are better than others," Lily answered with the pragmatism of a child who'd grown up too quickly. "Today she has chemo, so I'm playing longer. Every dollar helps." Alex reached for his wallet again, but Lily shook her head. "You already gave a lot. Mom says we can't take advantage of people's kindness." Something caught in Alex's throat. Pride, perhaps, for this child's integrity. "May I ask where you learned to play? You mentioned your mother taught you." "She studied at Juilliard before I was born," Lily explained, her fingers automatically positioning themselves over the keys. She was going to be a concert pianist, but then life happened. That's what she says. Alex's heartbeat quickened. What's your mother's name? Sophia. Sophia Matthews. Lily tilted her head curiously. Do you know her? The confirmation landed like a thunderbolt. Sophia Matthews. The timing aligned perfectly. 9 years ago, she would have been at Juilliard when they met, before his father orchestrated their separation, before he'd buried himself in his father's corporate vision, abandoning his music and, apparently, much more. I might, Alex said carefully, his mind racing with calculations and possibilities. We may have known each other a long time ago. Lily brightened. Really? That's so cool. She's coming to pick me up at 6 if you want to wait and say hi. Alex checked his watch, nearly 5. The reasonable thing would be to leave, to process this revelation privately, to approach the situation with the strategic planning he applied to his business dealings. Instead, he heard himself say, I'd like that. In the meantime, would you play something else for me? As Lily launched into another piece, Alex tried to steady his thoughts. The timing, the musical talent, the undeniable resemblance in their eyes, it all pointed to one impossible, life-altering conclusion. Lily Matthews wasn't just a gifted young pianist he'd happened upon in Grand Central Station. In all likelihood, she was his daughter. Alex never stayed to meet Sophia that evening. At 5:45, his phone rang with an urgent call from Marcus about the Next Tech merger, a call he'd secretly arranged himself. He said goodbye to Lily with a promise to return another day, his courage faltering at the last moment. Now, in the private sanctuary of his office on the 52nd floor of Thornton Tower, Alex stared at the business card in his hand. Jim Pearson, private investigator. The man across the desk from him was unassuming, gray-haired, mid-60s with kind eyes that had seen more of life's complexities than most. I need information on someone, Alex said, sliding a paper across the mahogany desk. Sophia Matthews. Current address, employment, medical situation, and, he paused, any documentation regarding her daughter Lily. Pearson nodded, asking no questions beyond the necessary details. Discretion is paramount, Alex emphasized. This isn't corporate espionage. It's personal. Understood, Mr. Thornton. I'll have preliminary information for you within 48 hours. After Pearson left, Alex sat alone with his thoughts. The rational part of his brain, the business executive his father had crafted, told him to maintain distance until he had facts. The part of him that had been suppressed for decades, the musician, the man who had once loved Sophia, urged immediate action. The next morning, the discreet file landed on his desk. He closed his office door before opening it. Sophia Matthews, 36. Currently employed part-time teaching piano at the Riverside Community Center when her health permitted. Single, never married. Diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer 6 months ago. Insurance coverage basic, medical bills mounting. Receiving treatment at Memorial Hospital under Dr. William Brooks. And there it was, a copy of Lily Matthews' birth certificate. Father, unknown. Date of birth, March 15, 2017. 9 months after his father had effectively ended his relationship with Sophia, Alex stared at the ceiling, memories flooding back. The summer of 2016, meeting the brilliant piano student during a rare rebellion against his father's control. Their intense connection, the shared passion for music, the plans they'd begun to make before Richard Thornton intervened. He'd never known she was pregnant. Had she tried to tell him? Without consulting anyone, Alex made a call to his foundation director. By that afternoon, Sophia Matthews had mysteriously received notification of extended premium medical coverage through a Thornton Foundation program for artists. The considerable medical bills that had accumulated were marked paid in full. It wasn't enough, but it was a start. Across town, Sophia sat on the edge of her bed staring in disbelief at the letter from Memorial Hospital. Mom? Lily appeared in the doorway, her backpack indicating she was ready for school. Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Sophia quickly folded the letter. "I'm fine, sweetheart, just surprised. It seems there's been a mistake. With our medical bills, they've been paid. All of them?" Lily's eyes widened. "But how? Did Aunt Rachel help us?" "No. It's from a foundation grant. For musicians." Sophia's mind was racing. The timing, right after Lily mentioned meeting a businessman at Grand Central. It couldn't be coincidence. After seeing Lily off to school, Sophia pulled out an old shoebox from the back of her closet. Inside lay memories she'd preserved, despite their pain, concert programs from Juilliard, dried flowers, and beneath it, all, a photograph. The complete version of the one Lily treasured before Sophia had cut it down to hide the man's identity. In it, she stood beside a younger Alex Thornton, both beaming in a Juilliard practice room, his arm around her waist. His eyes, the same striking blue Lily had inherited, filled with promise and passion. "He knows," she whispered to the empty room. "Somehow he's found us." That evening, as Lily practiced piano, Sophia watched her daughter's hands move across the keys with the same natural grace Alex had possessed. "Tell me about my father again," Lily requested, as she often did between pieces. Sophia sat beside her on the piano bench. "He was a talented musician who had to follow his family's business," she said carefully, the truth wrapped in partial disclosure. "He had the most beautiful blue eyes, just like yours." "Do you think I'll ever meet him?" Lily asked, a question she'd asked hundreds of times before. For the first time in 9 years, Sophia's answer changed. "Perhaps someday," she said softly, unaware that someday was approaching faster than she could possibly imagine. 4 weeks after his first encounter with Lily, Alex stood in the boardroom of Memorial Hospital, surrounded by administrators eager to accept a generous donation from Thornton Technologies. The company would sponsor a new music therapy program for cancer patients, a program conveniently located on the same floor where Sophia Matthews received her treatments. "The Thornton Foundation believes in healing through music," Alex explained, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "We'll provide instruments, instructors, and performance spaces throughout the hospital." Dr. Andrea Wilkins, the hospital director, beamed. "This is tremendous, Mr. Thornton. May I ask what inspired such a specific initiative?" "Personal experience," he answered simply. "Music heals what medicine sometimes cannot." The truth was more calculated. This program created a legitimate reason for his presence at the hospital without raising suspicions. A chance to observe Sophia before approaching her directly. That chance came sooner than expected. As Alex toured the oncology wing, he spotted her immediately, thinner than he remembered, a colorful scarf wrapped around her head, but unmistakably Sophia. She sat in a treatment chair, an IV connected to her arm, flipping through a magazine while a nurse checked her vitals. Alex's steps faltered. 9 years had passed since he'd seen her, since his father had orchestrated their separation with lies and manipulation. The woman who might have become his wife, the mother of his child, reading a magazine while poison dripped into her veins to keep her alive. Dr. Wilkins followed his gaze. "That's one of our weekly patients, Ms. Matthews. Remarkable woman, still. Teaches piano despite everything. Her daughter performs at Grand Central to help with expenses." Alex nodded, feigning polite interest while his mind raced. He couldn't walk away now. Taking a deep breath, he approached as Dr. Wilkins continued the tour with the rest of the group. "Sophia?" She looked up, her expression transforming from confusion to shock in an instant. "Alex." He stood awkwardly beside her chair. "I didn't expect to see you today. I'm here announcing a music therapy program." "Of course you are," Sophia replied, her tone guarded. Her eyes, different from Lily's, a warm brown rather than piercing blue, studied him carefully. "Quite a coincidence. Is it?" He held her gaze, a moment of tense silence stretched between them. Finally, Sophia glanced at the clipboard hanging from her treatment chair. Alex's eyes followed hers, catching sight of the paperwork with Lily's name listed as emergency contact. Below it, birth date March 15th, 2017. "She has your eyes," Sophia said quietly, confirming what didn't need confirmation. "When were you going? To tell me?" The question emerged more sharply than he intended. "I tried," she answered, her voice steady despite the emotions clearly churning beneath. "Your father made it very clear you wanted nothing to do with us." The nurse returned before Alex could respond. "Ms. Matthews, we need your updated insurance information." She handed Sophia a tablet displaying the Thornton Foundation logo prominently at the top of the screen. Sophia looked from the tablet to Alex, comprehension dawning. "The foundation grant, that was you." "The least I could do," he said softly. "Mr. Thornton," Dr. Wilkins called from down the hall. "The board members are waiting for you in the conference room." Alex hesitated, torn between professional obligation and 9 years of unanswered questions. "We need to talk, Sophia. About everything." "Lily performs at Grand Central on Thursdays and Fridays," she replied, her eyes holding his. "I pick her up at 6. He understood her meaning instantly. She was offering a controlled meeting, a chance to reconnect as the adults they'd become, not the young lovers who'd been forced apart. "I'll be there," he promised, before rejoining his group. As he walked away, Alex felt Sophia's gaze on his back, and the weight of all they'd lost and possibly found again settled on his shoulders. By the time he reached the conference room, one thought dominated his mind. The child he'd discovered by chance, drawn by her music, was undeniably his daughter, and nothing in his carefully constructed world would ever be the same again. The giant clock in Grand Central showed 5:15 p.m. as Alex approached Lily's performance spot for what had become a twice-weekly ritual over the past 3 weeks. She was playing Beethoven today, her small fingers stretching to reach complex chord progressions. The case of her electronic keyboard now displayed a neat handwritten sign: "Music for Mom's Medicine." Alex had been careful, building trust gradually, never revealing the truth before Sophia deemed it appropriate. To the outside world, he was simply a patron of the arts, a businessman who appreciated musical talent. To Lily, he was becoming a mentor, perhaps even a friend. He placed his customary donation in her jar and waited until she finished playing. "That was beautiful, Lily. Your dynamics are improving." She beamed at the recognition. "I've been practicing. Mom says you have to feel the music, not just play the notes." "Your mom is absolutely right." Alex reached into his messenger bag, a departure from his usual briefcase, and pulled out a folder of sheet music. "I thought you might enjoy trying these pieces." Lily's eyes widened as she flipped through the pages. "These are amazing. But," she hesitated, "some look really difficult." "That's why I brought you this," Alex said, producing a small digital tablet. "It's loaded with tutorials and has an app that can help you work through challenging passages. The battery lasts for days, and you can use it anywhere." "I can't take this," Lily protested, though her fingers were already tracing the screen with longing. "It's too expensive." "It's not a gift, it's a loan," Alex clarified, having learned that Sophia had instilled fierce independence in her daughter. "A proper musician needs proper tools. You can return it when you've mastered everything on it." Lily laughed. "Oh, that could take years." "Then I suppose we'll have to keep meeting for years," Alex replied, his heart warming at how natural it felt to plan a future that included this remarkable child. His child. "Hello, Alex." He turned to find a woman watching them with cautious eyes. She wasn't Sophia, who had texted him earlier that her treatment had been rescheduled. "You must be Rachel," he said, recognizing her from Jim Pearson's thorough background report. Rachel Wilson, 38, nurse at Memorial Hospital and Sophia's closest friend since college. The person who watched Lily during Sophia's treatments and consequently a potential ally or formidable obstacle. "And you're the mysterious businessman who's suddenly very interested in a little girl's piano playing," Rachel replied, her protective instinct evident in every word. Lily, oblivious to the tension, interrupted. "Rachel, look what Mr. Thornton brought me." A piano tablet with tutorials and everything. Rachel's eyebrows lifted slightly at his surname. Thornton? As in Thornton Technologies? The very same, Alex confirmed, meeting her scrutinizing gaze steadily. Lily, why don't you pack up your things while I chat with Mr. Thornton? Rachel suggested, her tone leaving no room for negotiation. Once Lily was occupied, Rachel turned to Alex, arms crossed. Sophia told me about your history. What exactly are your intentions here? The directness of the question was refreshing after weeks of careful navigation. To be whatever Lily needs me to be, he answered honestly. At Sophia's discretion. And if Sophia's health continues to decline, what then? The possibility struck Alex like a physical blow. The investigator's report had been optimistic about Sophia's prognosis, but cancer was unpredictable. Then I'll be there for Lily, he said firmly. In whatever capacity Sophia feels is appropriate. Rachel studied him for a long moment before her posture softened slightly. Lily's flourishing with your encouragement. Her playing has improved tremendously. But if you hurt her, or Sophia, I understand. Alex nodded, respecting the fierce protection. I have 9 years to make up, for even if most of that time I was unaware of her existence. Their conversation was interrupted by Lily's return, keyboard packed away, tablet clutched protectively to her chest. Already, as they prepared to leave, Alex's phone rang, an unfamiliar number with the Memorial Hospital prefix. Concern immediately flooded him. Excuse me, I need to take this, he said, stepping aside. The voice on the other end was clinical, efficient. Mr. Thornton, this is Memorial Hospital. You're listed as an emergency contact for Sophia Matthews. There's been a complication. As the nurse continued explaining, Alex felt the carefully constructed bridges he'd been building suddenly suspended over an abyss of uncertainty. Mid-May 2025, the boardroom of Thornton Technologies hummed with tension. Alex sat at the head of the mahogany table surrounded by executives whose concern was palpable. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Manhattan sprawled below them, a kingdom he'd inherited but never truly wanted. The next tech merger is scheduled for early July, Marcus Delaney, his CFO, reminded everyone. We need absolute focus from leadership. His gaze fixed pointedly on Alex. All leadership. Alex nodded absently, his mind elsewhere. 3 days had passed since Sophia's emergency surgery for a severe infection, a dangerous complication of her compromised immune system. 3 days of hospital visits, of sitting beside Lily in the waiting room, of watching his daughter's small shoulders carry a burden no child should bear. Alex? Charlotte's voice broke through his thoughts. Your input on the projection models? The models are fine, he replied, straightening in his chair. Continue with the implementation schedule as planned. Marcus cleared his throat. About the investment committee meeting tomorrow. Reschedule it, Alex interrupted. I have a prior commitment. The prior commitment was Lily's return to Grand Central after her 3-day absence. He'd promised to be there, to provide some normalcy while Sophia stabilized. After the meeting adjourned, Marcus lingered, closing the boardroom door. A word, Alex? Marcus had been with Thornton Technologies for 15 years, longer than Alex himself. At 52, he was Richard Thornton's final executive hire before retirement, and sometimes Alex wondered where Marcus's true loyalties lay. I've noticed your distraction these past weeks, Marcus began, his tone carefully balanced between concern and criticism. The board is asking questions. The board will have my full attention when it matters, Alex replied coolly. And this sudden interest in music therapy programs, the missed meetings, the mysterious appointments that Charlotte guards like state secrets? Marcus pressed. There are rumors, Alex. Alex's jaw tightened. My personal life is not corporate business, Marcus. It becomes corporate business when it affects Thornton Technologies, Marcus countered. Your father built this company on focus and discipline. My father is dead, Alex said flatly, the words hanging in the air between them. And I'm not him. Marcus regarded him for a long moment before nodding slowly. No, you're not. That's becoming increasingly clear. After Marcus left, Alex stood by the window watching the city below. His phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. Lily waiting at Grand Central, where are you? He checked his watch, 5:40 p.m. He'd lost track of time. Charlotte, he called, grabbing his jacket. Cancel everything for the rest of the day. 15. Minutes later, he burst into Grand Central Station, scanning frantically for Lily's usual spot. The space was empty. No keyboard, no sign, no little girl with auburn hair and blue eyes. Panic rose in his chest as he searched the surrounding areas. His phone rang. An unknown number. Mr. Thornton, this is Rachel Wilson. I have your number. From Sophia's contacts. Rachel, I'm so sorry. The board meeting ran long. Lily's here at Memorial, Rachel interrupted. She came straight to the hospital instead of going to Grand Central. She's playing the piano in the waiting area. I thought you should know. Relief washed over him. I'll be right there. 20 minutes later, Alex stepped off the elevator into Memorial Hospital's third-floor waiting area. The sound of piano music, hauntingly familiar, led him to a small sitting room where Lily played an upright piano donated through the Thornton Foundation. He stood silently, listening as she performed a piece he hadn't heard in nearly a decade. The notes stirred memories long buried, late nights in Juilliard practice rooms, his fingers moving across keys instead of spreadsheets, his heart following music instead of profit margins. When Lily finished, he approached quietly. That was beautiful. What's it called? She looked up, her face brightening. Midnight Sonata. It's Mom's favorite. Alex felt the air leave his lungs. Where did you learn it? I don't remember giving you that sheet music. You didn't, Lily explained, scooting over on the bench to make room for him. Mom taught it to me. She says it was written by my father. The world seemed to stop around him. The Midnight Sonata, his composition from his final semester at Juilliard, the piece he'd written for Sophia before his father intervened. The piece he'd never published, never shared beyond their private circle. Your father wrote this? He asked carefully, his heart hammering. Lily nodded, her fingers returning to the keys. Mom says he was really talented. That's why she kept it, to remember him by. As Lily began playing again, Alex caught Rachel watching from the doorway, her expression confirming what he now knew with absolute certainty. Sophia had preserved his music, had taught their daughter to play the notes he'd written years before she was born, had kept him alive in Lily's heart even while believing he'd rejected them both. The truth was inescapable now, and so was the conversation he needed to have with Rachel. Chapter 9. The truth emerges. The hospital cafeteria was nearly empty at this late hour. Alex sat across from Rachel, both cradling cups of mediocre coffee while Lily dozed on a nearby couch, exhausted from her emotional day. She plays it beautifully, Alex said, breaking the silence. The Midnight Sonata. Rachel studied him carefully. You wrote it, didn't you? My final composition at Juilliard. Alex rotated his cup slowly. I never published it, never performed it publicly. It was just for Sophia and me. She kept everything, Rachel said quietly. Every composition, every note you wrote her. She claimed it was because Lily deserved to know her musical heritage, but I always suspected she never truly let you go. Alex's throat tightened. I need to know what happened, Rachel. After we were separated. Rachel sighed, glancing at Lily's sleeping form before continuing. Sophia discovered she was pregnant about 6 weeks after you disappeared from her life. She tried reaching you. Calls, emails, even went to your father's office. I never received any messages, Alex said, the familiar anger toward his late father rising again. Your father intercepted her, Rachel confirmed. Told her you were engaged to someone suitable for the Thornton legacy and wanted nothing to do with a pregnant music student. Offered her money to disappear. Which she refused, Alex surmised. Rachel nodded. She tore up the check in his face, said her child deserved better than to be bought off. Your father threatened to ruin her career if she pursued you. She was 27, pregnant, terrified, but still she wouldn't take his money. Alex closed his eyes briefly, imagining Sophia facing down Richard Thornton, a formidable opponent even for seasoned executives. She never told anyone you were Lily's father, Rachel continued. Not even me until recently. She created that story about a talented musician forced into business to explain Lily's father without lying. She thought it would be easier for Lily to believe her father didn't know about her than to think he'd rejected her. But she kept my music alive, Alex said, the realization both painful and beautiful. Music was her connection to you, and Lily's inheritance. She made sure Lily would know that part of you even if she never met you. Rachel hesitated. When she got sick, she added you to her emergency contacts. I think part of her always hoped someday that I would find them, Alex finished. Rachel nodded. Sophia's strongest trait has always been hope, even facing cancer, even raising Lily alone. She never became bitter. Alex looked toward Lily, her small chest rising and falling in peaceful sleep, unaware of the truths being spoken about her existence. What happens now? Rachel asked. I need to talk to Sophia, Alex replied. Once she's stronger, we need to decide together how to tell Lily, how to move forward. And if Sophia doesn't recover? Rachel's question was gentle but necessary. The possibility sent ice through Alex's veins. Then I'll be there for Lily, in whatever capacity she needs. You'd change your entire life? Give up board meetings and corporate jets for school pickups and homework? Without hesitation, Alex answered, surprising himself with the immediacy of his response. Rachel considered him for a long moment before reaching a decision. Sophia regains consciousness tomorrow morning. The doctors are keeping her sedated until then. Be here at 10. I'll make sure you have time alone with her. As Rachel gently woke Lily to take her home, Alex remained at the table, contemplating the conversation that awaited him and the new beginning it might represent for all of them. The steady beep of medical monitors provided a somber soundtrack as Alex entered Sophia's hospital room. 3 days after her emergency surgery, she sat propped against pillows, pale but alert. Sunlight streamed through half-drawn blinds, casting alternating patterns of light and shadow across the bed. Their eyes met, and 9 years collapsed into a heartbeat. Rachel said you wanted to talk, Sophia said, her voice stronger than he'd expected. Alex moved to the chair beside her bed, not yet sitting. Is this a good time? The doctors say I'm stable, she finished. And we've waited long. Enough, don't you think? He nodded, settling into the chair. For a moment, neither spoke, the weight of unshared years hanging between them. Lily plays the Midnight Sonata beautifully, Alex finally said. A small smile touched Sophia's lips. She does. Better than I ever could. Why did you teach it to her? After everything that happened? Sophia looked toward the window. Because regardless of how things ended between us, that music was part of her heritage. I wanted her to have something real of you, even if she never knew who you were. I would have been there, Sophia, Alex said, the words emerging more intensely than he intended. If I had known about her, would you? Sophia challenged gently. Your father made a convincing case that you'd chosen your path, and it didn't. Include a pianist from Juilliard or an unexpected child. My father lied, Alex stated flatly. To both of us. Sophia studied him, her gaze penetrating. I suspected as much eventually, but by then years had passed. You were CEO of Thornton Technologies, featured in business magazines. I was a single mother teaching piano lessons. The gap seemed unbridgeable. Until cancer forced your hand, Alex observed. Cancer clarifies priorities, she acknowledged. When your mortality becomes tangible, you start considering contingencies you'd rather not face. Like who would care for Lily if you couldn't? Sophia nodded. I added you to my emergency contacts 6 months ago when I was diagnosed. I never expected you'd actually appear in Grand Central Station like some scene from a film. I heard her playing, Alex said simply. I was drawn to the music before I ever saw her face. She inherited your gift, Sophia said, and your eyes. A comfortable silence settled between them, the first since their reunion. Outside the door, hospital staff bustled past, a world continuing while theirs paused for this necessary conversation. "I want to know her, Sophia," Alex said finally, "not just as the man who brings her sheet music twice a week, as her father. And your company, your board, the life you've built, will adjust," he said with newfound certainty. "Or they won't. Either way, I won't miss another day of her life if I can help it." Sophia's expression softened. She's not going to understand immediately. She may be angry we kept this from her. "We'll handle it together," Alex promised, then hesitated. "If that's what you want." "What I want," Sophia said carefully, "is for Lily to have her father in her life. What I want is for her future to be secure if this cancer takes an unexpected turn." "It won't," Alex said quickly. "Dr. Chen is an excellent oncologist," Sophia acknowledged, "but we need to be realistic. I want legal protection for Lily. A paternity test to formalize your rights as her father." The clinical terminology jarred Alex. "You don't trust my word?" "I trust your intentions today," Sophia replied, "but I need to ensure Lily's tomorrow regardless of what happens to either of us. The paternity test isn't about trust, it's about protection." Understanding dawned. Sophia wasn't questioning his commitment. She was ensuring Lily would never be separated from her father again, even if she herself weren't there to advocate for their daughter. "Whatever you think is best," Alex agreed. "But Sophia, you're going to beat this, and we'll have time to figure out the rest together." She reached for his hand, her fingers cool against his. "We'll take it one day at a time, starting with telling Lily the truth when I'm discharged, not before." "Agreed," Alex said, squeezing her hand gently. "One day at a time." As he left the hospital room, Alex felt both weight and weightlessness, the burden of 9 lost years alongside the lifting of secrets too long kept. The path forward wasn't clear, but for the first time in memory, it felt right. Late May sunshine dappled the walkways of Grand Central Station as commuters streamed past Lily's performance spot. But today was different. Today, Alex sat beside her at a portable digital piano he'd brought, their fingers creating harmony on neighboring keys. Together, they played a simplified duet version of Bach that Alex had arranged specifically for their skill differential. Commuters slowed, phones emerged to capture the unlikely pair, the distinguished businessman and the little girl performing with surprising synchronicity. "Your left hand is rushing," Alex murmured between phrases, his guidance gentle but precise. Lily corrected immediately, her ear as keen as his. "Your turn is coming up," she reminded him with a grin as they approached his solo section. 2 weeks had passed since Sophia's surgery. The paternity test had confirmed what they already knew, the documents filed discreetly with help from Thornton Technologies' legal team. Sophia had begun treatment with Dr. Catherine Chen, the oncology specialist Alex had arranged, whose innovative protocol was already showing promising results. Yet they hadn't told Lily. Sophia wanted to regain her strength first, to be fully present for whatever reaction their revelation might trigger. So Alex continued his role as mentor, now openly coordinating with Sophia, building the foundation of a relationship that would eventually unveil its true nature. As they finished their duet, applause erupted from the gathered crowd. A commuter approached, phone still recording. "That was amazing. Do you perform here regularly?" she asked. "Tuesdays and Fridays," Lily answered confidently. "We're raising money for cancer research." Alex had insisted they redirect her fundraising toward research rather than personal medical bills, which he now covered completely. Lily had embraced the new mission wholeheartedly, proud to help others like her mother. "You two are naturals together," the woman commented. "Father and daughter?" The innocent question hung in the air. Alex felt his heart stutter as Lily looked up at him, curiosity in her blue eyes, his eyes. "We're musical partners," Alex answered smoothly, ruffling Lily's hair with casual affection that disguised his internal turmoil. After the crowd dispersed and they packed up their instruments, Alex's phone vibrated. Marcus Delaney's name flashed on the screen, but he silenced it without answering. "Don't you need to take that?" Lily asked, ever observant. "It can wait," Alex replied, helping her with her backpack. "Some things are more important than business." As they walked toward the exit where Rachel waited to take Lily home, Alex's phone buzzed again, this time with a news alert. Thornton Technology CEO Alexander Thornton spotted performing with young pianist in Grand Central. Video goes viral. He sighed, showing the alert to Rachel as Lily ran ahead to a nearby pretzel stand. "That didn't take long," Rachel commented, skimming the article. "Are you ready for this? The questions it will raise?" "I don't have a choice," Alex replied. "The truth will come out eventually. I'd rather it be on our terms, but if not..." He shrugged. "Sophia and Lily are my priority now." Rachel studied him, her initial suspicion having evolved into cautious respect. "You've changed, Thornton. When Sophia first told me who you were, I expected a corporate shark too busy for a child he never wanted. That's who my father trained me to be," Alex acknowledged. "But it's never who I wanted to be." His phone rang again, Charlotte this time. Unlike Marcus, she deserved an answer. "I've seen the video," she said without preamble when he answered. "Marcus is calling an emergency board meeting tomorrow morning. He's suggesting your public behavior might impact the next tech merger." "I'll handle Marcus," Alex replied, watching Lily laugh as she shared her pretzel with Rachel. "The merger isn't at risk." "Alex," Charlotte's voice lowered. "Is she your daughter? The timing fits and the resemblance..." "Yes," he said simply, the first time he'd acknowledged the truth to anyone in his corporate life. "She is." "Then handle this carefully," Charlotte advised, "not just for the company but for her." After ending the call, Alex rejoined Lily and Rachel, accepting the piece of pretzel Lily offered him. Tomorrow would bring corporate battles and strategic decisions, but today, watching Lily's animated description of the music she wanted to learn next, today was perfect exactly as it was. Early June brought warm evenings to Manhattan, perfect for the dinner Alex had arranged in his penthouse apartment. The terrace doors stood open, allowing a gentle breeze to carry the scent of the rooftop garden inside. Sophia sat at the table, noticeably stronger than she'd been even a week ago. Dr. Chen's treatment protocol was working. Her color had improved, and she'd regained some of the weight her illness had stolen. "This view is incredible," she said, gazing at the city lights emerging as dusk settled. "Lily hasn't stopped talking about it since she arrived." Alex smiled, watching as Lily explored his living room, drawn inevitably to the baby grand piano in the corner. Her fingers traced the polished wood with reverence. "May I?" she asked, looking back at the adults. "Of course," Alex nodded, sharing a meaningful glance with Sophia. They'd agreed tonight wouldn't be the night for revelations, but rather for building comfort and connection. As Lily began to play, Alex moved to the kitchen to finish preparing their meal. A simple pasta dish from a recipe Sophia had mentioned was Lily's favorite. Cooking was a newly discovered pleasure, one of many simple joys he'd denied himself in his corporate ascent. "Need help?" Sophia asked, joining him at the counter. "I think I've got it," he replied, then laughed self-consciously. "Though I'm not sure I've ever cooked for anyone before." "Never?" Sophia raised an eyebrow. "My father believed hiring people was more efficient than learning skills he considered unnecessary," Alex explained, stirring the sauce. "I inherited his staff along with his company. And now the CEO makes his own pasta sauce," Sophia observed with a gentle smile. "What would Richard Thornton say? Nothing printable." Alex chuckled. From the living room, Lily's playing shifted to a familiar progression, the opening notes of Midnight Sonata. Alex and Sophia both paused, listening as their daughter interpreted the piece that had once represented their love story. "She's added her own embellishments," Alex noted, moving to the doorway to watch. "She does that," Sophia said, standing beside him. "Takes something established and makes it uniquely hers, like someone else I once knew." The domestic comfort of the moment struck Alex profoundly. This vision of what might have been, what could still be. For 9 years, he'd lived in this expansive apartment without it ever feeling like a home. Tonight, with Lily's music filling the space and Sophia beside him, it finally did. Later, as they enjoyed dinner on the terrace, Lily peppered Alex with questions about his piano. "It's a Steinway, isn't it? The touch is so responsive. When did you get it?" "It was my grandfather's," Alex explained. "The only possession my father allowed me to keep when I chose business school over Juilliard. Probably because it reminded him of his own father's passion for music." "So it's a family tradition?" Lily asked innocently. Alex met Sophia's eyes across the table. "Yes," he said softly. "I suppose it is." After dinner, Lily insisted on performing for them, a proper recital on a proper piano. She positioned herself with professional poise, announcing her program. "I'll be playing Midnight Sonata, composed by..." She paused, looking to her mother for permission. Sophia nodded slightly. "By my father," Lily finished, her voice carrying a hint of wistfulness. As she played, Alex felt tears threatening. She performed his composition with technical precision but also with emotional understanding beyond her years, as if she somehow sensed the love that had inspired its creation. When she finished, both adults were silent, moved beyond words. "Was it okay?" Lily asked, suddenly just an 8-year-old seeking approval. "It was perfect," Alex managed, his voice rough with emotion. He would be very proud. Later, after Lily had fallen asleep on the guest room bed, Sophia and Alex sat on the terrace, glasses of wine in hand. "We need to tell her soon," Sophia said quietly. "She's starting to ask more questions, and with the video circulating." "Whenever you're ready," Alex replied. "My schedule is clear. The company can survive without me for a day." Sophia studied him in the muted terrace lighting. "Are you sure about all this, Alex? It's one thing to discover you have a child, another, to integrate her, and her cancer-surviving mother, into your life permanently." Alex reached for her hand, holding it gently. "I've never been more certain of anything. You and Lily. You're the family I didn't know I was missing." The city hummed below them, millions of lives intersecting in countless ways. But on this terrace, in this moment, 3 lives were weaving together into something new yet somehow always meant to be. CEO's secret child, Thornton Technologies leader, Hyde's piano prodigy daughter. The headline blazed across the New York Business Journal's website, accompanied by side-by-side photos of Alex and Lily at Grand Central, their identical blue eyes circled in red for emphasis. Below were pictures of Sophia entering Memorial Hospital, her medical file partially visible in a nurse's hand, clearly obtained through questionable means. Mid-June had brought the story Alex had been dreading. Someone had connected the dots, before they could tell Lily themselves. "How bad is it?" Charlotte asked, standing in his office doorway. Alex looked up from his computer screen. "They have her birth certificate, Charlotte. They know Sophia tried to contact me 9 years ago. They're painting me as a deadbeat who suddenly developed a conscience when she got sick." Charlotte closed the door. "Marcus?" "Almost certainly," Alex confirmed. "The board meeting is in 30 minutes. He's making his move before the next tech merger." His phone lit up with Sophia's call. "I have to take this." Charlotte nodded, leaving him to privacy. "Sophia, have you seen? Rachel is keeping Lily home." "From school," Sophia interrupted, her voice tight with controlled anger. "Reporters are outside our apartment building. Someone offered her classmate $50 for information about her." Alex closed his eyes, fury and guilt warring within him. "I'm sending security to bring you both to my place. Pack whatever you need for a few days." "Alex." Sophia's voice softened slightly. "This isn't your fault." "It is," he countered. "And I'll fix it. But first we need to tell Lily before she hears it from someone else." After arranging security for Sophia and Lily, Alex straightened his tie and headed for the boardroom. The faces that greeted him ranged from concerned to calculatingly neutral. At the far end sat Marcus, a manufactured expression of regret barely concealing his satisfaction. "I believe we all know why we're here," Marcus began before Alex could speak. "The situation that's come to light poses significant risk to the Nextech merger. Their board has already expressed concern about leadership stability." "Fascinating," Alex replied coolly, remaining standing. "Since I spoke with Nextech's CEO this morning and he expressed nothing but continued enthusiasm for our partnership," Marcus faltered momentarily. "Nevertheless, the revelation of a hidden child—" "Let me stop you there," Alex interrupted. "I discovered I had a daughter 8 weeks ago. There was no concealment, merely a father's wish to establish a relationship. Before subjecting an 8-year-old child to public scrutiny, he surveyed the room, making eye contact with each board member, which someone in this room clearly thought was unnecessary protection. Uncomfortable glances were exchanged. My private life is not board business," Alex continued. "But since it's been forced into discussion, yes, I have a daughter. Her mother is battling cancer with courage that would humble everyone in this room. And I intend to be there for both of them while continuing to lead this company into its most profitable quarter to date." Marcus recovered, pressing his advantage. "Noble sentiments, Alex. But Richard Thornton built this company on image as much as innovation. The scandal, my father," Alex cut in sharply, "deliberately kept me from my child. He intercepted communications, lied to the mother of his grandchild, and offered money to make her disappear. If anyone damaged the Thornton name, it was Richard Thornton himself." Silence fell over the room. "I've prepared something that may address your concerns," Alex said, distributing folders to each board member. "A proposal for the Thornton Music Education Initiative, integrating with our existing community programs and creating positive press to counterbalance this manufactured scandal." The board members flipped through the detailed prospectus: community, music schools in underserved areas, scholarships, technology grants for music education. "This isn't damage control," noted Eleanor Winters, the board's longest-serving member. "This is a fully developed program." "Because it's not a reaction to crisis," Alex explained. "It's the integration of who I truly am with the company I lead. Something my father never permitted." Eleanor studied him thoughtfully. "Richard was my friend for 40 years, but he was wrong about many things, particularly what makes a man worthy of respect." She closed her folder decisively. "I move to table any discussion of leadership changes and endorse Alex's initiative immediately." As murmurs of agreement spread through the room, Marcus's face hardened. "This doesn't change the fact that you've been distracted, Alex. The merger is proceeding perfectly on schedule," Alex finished for him, "as you'd know if you'd attended the strategy meeting this morning instead of leaking stories to the press." Marcus blanched slightly. "Now, if you'll excuse me," Alex said, gathering his materials. "My family needs me. Charlotte will handle the rest of today's agenda." As he walked out, leaving the boardroom in stunned silence, Alex felt lighter than he had in years. The corporate world that had once defined him now seemed merely one aspect of a life that was finally, truly, his own. Independence. Day dawned clear and bright. The city quieter than usual as many New Yorkers had escaped to beaches and summer homes. For Alex, Sophia, and Lily, the holiday provided perfect timing. A day free from school, work, and the press attention that had finally begun to wane. They'd chosen Central Park for this moment, finding a secluded spot near the Bethesda fountain, where Lily could run freely if she needed space to process what they were about to tell her. Sophia spread a picnic blanket beneath a massive oak tree, her movement stronger than they'd been in months. Dr. Chen's treatment was working remarkably well. Her latest scans showed significant reduction in tumor size. "Can we get ice cream after?" Lily asked, arranging the picnic items they'd brought from Alex's apartment, where they'd been staying since the media storm erupted. "We'll see," Sophia answered, exchanging a nervous glance with Alex. They'd rehearsed this conversation repeatedly, consulting a child psychologist for guidance on the best approach. When they were settled, Alex handed Lily the small gift box they'd prepared. "What's this for?" "It's not my birthday," Lily said, curious. Just open it, Sophia encouraged gently. Inside, Lily found a delicate silver bracelet with 3 charms, a piano, a tiny music sheet, and a heart. She held it up, admiring how it caught the sunlight. It's beautiful, thank you. She immediately extended her wrist for Alex to help fasten it. Lily, Sophia began, do you remember asking me about your father? About why he wasn't in our lives? Lily's brightness dimmed slightly. You said he had to follow his family's business instead of music, and that life pulled you apart. That's true, Sophia nodded, but there's more to the story, something we need to tell you today. Lily looked between them, suddenly serious. Is it because of those reporters? The ones who took our picture? Partly, Alex admitted, but mostly because it's time you knew the whole truth. Sophia took Lily's hand. Your father didn't know about you, sweetheart. His father, your grandfather, kept my messages from him when I tried to tell him I was pregnant. Lily's brow furrowed. So he didn't leave us on purpose? No, Sophia assured her. He would have been there if he'd known. And now? Lily asked, her voice small but steady. Does he know now? Alex's heart hammered in his chest as he gently took Lily's other hand. I know now, Lily. Silence fell as Lily processed his words, her intelligent eyes, his eyes widening with realization. You, she whispered. You're my father. Alex nodded, words temporarily beyond him. Lily pulled her hands away, standing abruptly. But you've been coming to watch me play for weeks. You gave me music and the tablet, and why didn't you tell me? We wanted to be sure, Sophia explained, and we wanted to get to know each other first to make sure everything would be okay. So you've both been lying to me, Lily concluded, the hurt evident in her voice. This whole time? Not lying, Alex said carefully, waiting for the right moment. We didn't want to confuse or upset you. I'm not a baby, Lily protested, tears welling. I could have handled it. You're right, Sophia acknowledged. Maybe we were protecting ourselves as much as you. I was afraid you'd be angry that I kept you from your father, even though I thought I was doing what was best. And I was afraid you might not want me in your life, Alex admitted, after being absent for so long. Lily paced the small area, processing. Finally, she turned to them both. All those times you said my father wrote Midnight Sonata. You meant him? She pointed at Alex. Sophia nodded. He composed it when we were together at Juilliard, before his father made him choose business instead. That's why it's your favorite, Lily realized. It reminded you of him. Something in her expression shifted as pieces fell into place. Her mother's stories, their shared musical talent, the identical blue eyes that had startled strangers for years. The bracelet, Lily said suddenly, looking down at her wrist. 3 charms. For the 3 of us, Alex confirmed softly. If you'll have me as your father. Lily stood perfectly still, her young face showing a complexity of emotions no child should have to navigate. Then, with the resilience only children possess, she asked, Do you know how to play Midnight Sonata as a duet? Alex blinked in surprise. I could arrange it. Then let's go back to the apartment and do that, Lily decided. I want to hear how it sounds when we play it together. It wasn't forgiveness yet, nor complete acceptance, but it was a beginning. Child's attempt to understand her place in a story more complicated than she'd ever imagined. As they gathered their picnic, Lily looked up at Alex. Can I still call you Alex until I get used to the other thing? You can call me whatever feels right, he assured her, his heart full beyond measure. We have all the time in the world. December snow fell softly outside the Manhattan School of Music, transforming the cityscape into a winter wonderland. Inside the warmth of the recital hall, parents and guests settled in their seats, programs rustling as they awaited the holiday showcase. In the front row, Alex adjusted his tie nervously, earning an amused glance from Sophia beside him. Her hair had grown back, shorter than before but framing her face beautifully. The doctors had used the word remission at her last appointment, a Christmas gift beyond measure. "Relax," she whispered, squeezing his hand. "She's been practicing for weeks. She's ready." "I know," Alex replied. "It's not her performance I'm worried about." 6 months had passed since their revelation in Central Park. 6 months of careful steps forward, occasional steps back, and the gradual weaving together of 3 separate lives into something that resembled a family. Lily had enrolled in the Manhattan School of Music's prestigious youth program, her talent flourishing under professional instruction. The house lights dimmed as the school's director took the stage, welcoming everyone to the holiday recital. Alex barely heard the opening performances, his mind focused on what was to come. Finally, the announcer's voice. "And now, Lily Matthews Thornton performing an original arrangement." Lily walked confidently to center stage, her holiday dress complemented by the silver bracelet that hadn't left her wrist since July. At 9 years old, she carried herself with poise beyond her years as she adjusted the microphone. "Before I play, I'd like to share something with you," she began, her clear voice carrying through the hall. 6 months ago, I was playing piano in Grand Central Station to help pay for my mom's cancer treatments. I'd never met my father. I thought he didn't know about me. Alex felt Sophia's grip tighten on his hand. "But then something amazing happened," Lily continued. "My music led him to find me. We discovered that melodies can build bridges across years and silence." She smiled toward the front row. "Tonight I'm playing a piece called Midnight Sonata. My father composed it before I was born, and my mother taught it to me even when they were apart. But I've arranged it differently, as a trio, because now we're together." At her nod, Alex and Sophia rose from their seats and joined her on stage, taking positions at the waiting instruments, Alex at the grand piano, Sophia with her violin. They had rehearsed this privately, but never before an audience, as Lily began the familiar opening. Alex's entrance followed, the melody deepening with his accompaniment. When Sophia's violin joined, weaving between their piano lines, the 3 distinct voices created something entirely new. The original composition transformed by their unified presence. From his place at the piano, Alex watched his daughter's confident hands, so like his own, moving across the keys. He saw Sophia's gentle smile as her bow danced across strings. 3 separate musicians creating harmony from a piece that had once been born of love, then carried by memory, and now rebuilt into something stronger. The audience sat transfixed as the final notes faded into perfect silence before erupting into thunderous applause. Lily beamed as she stood between her parents for their bow, her hand finding Alex's with newfound comfort. Backstage after the performance, surrounded by congratulations from Lily's teachers and classmates, Alex's phone buzzed with messages from Charlotte. The Thornton Music Foundation's latest initiative had secured its funding goal. The foundation that had begun as corporate damage control had evolved into his passion project, already changing lives across the city. "Dad?" Lily's voice still carried a hint of newness around the word. "Was it okay? Did I rush the middle section?" "It was perfect," Alex assured her, still marveling at being called Dad, a title more valuable than CEO had ever been. Later that evening, as they walked through light snowfall toward the waiting car, Lily skipping ahead with the exuberance of childhood, Sophia leaned against Alex's shoulder. "Not exactly how I imagined our lives would turn out," she observed. "Better?" he asked, watching their daughter's joy. "Different," Sophia corrected. "But yes, better. The long way around to where we were always meant to be." Alex wrapped his arm around her shoulders, drawing her closer against the cold. Ahead, Lily twirled in the falling snow, her face upturned to catch flakes on her tongue. Behind them, the lights of the school gleamed like the promise they'd finally fulfilled. "Some melodies," Alex said softly, "take time to find their perfect harmony." As they reached the car, Lily called out, "Can we play it again when we get home?" I have ideas for making it even better. Alex laughed, recognizing his own perfectionism in her enthusiasm. Of course we can. Some distances couldn't be crossed in a single moment. Some separations left marks that needed time to heal. But with each note played together, with each shared day, the pain of their years apart faded further into memory. What remained, what grew stronger, was the music they now created together.